Don't you think McDonald's used to hit different when we were younger?
That's because you didn't get it often.
That's I was literally thinking that's what's the reason why I hate it now, low key.
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, it was almost like a rarity. Like I don't know about like you, but my parents didn't really buy that for us too often. Like it was often enough. And I had a friend whose dad brought us to art classes every week, and we would get McDonald's every week when we went to art class. But I definitely because it's not like it was like an often thing. Like now we have money and you could buy that whenever you want.
Yeah, that's the thing about like people be like, I miss being a kid. I'm like, there's so many things about being a kid that I don't miss at all.
Yeah, I don't miss the not having a freedom.
Yeah, there's so many things that for now I take for granted because I've been accustomed to it, being having money and being on your own and independent. But man, like remember I was telling you that story, like scrounging up $1.50 to get like something out the vending machine.
No, literally, like having
Crazy.
to find money around. Like I used to literally look underneath the vending machines. I used to look for coins around school sometimes just to get money for stuff.
Yeah, that's insane.
Not that my parents didn't give it to me, but it's like it was annoying having to keep asking them, or sometimes I would forget.
Yeah, I was never really the type to ask.
Once I got a
for
job
anything.
though, it was over. Like when I got my job going into junior year, that was like the best thing. Like being a junior in college, high school, and having money.
Yeah, I don't
Biggest flex. I was buying so much stuff.
I don't like asking people for anything.
That's how I was on. That's once I got my ShopRite job. That's when I was on to Karma Loop
Yeah.
because I was getting to a different bag. So I was like, different bag compared to everybody else back then because we were 15.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get it for Little Fish.
But anyway, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex G, alongside the one and only Mal, and this is the A Couple of Things podcast where we are here to talk about a couple of things. So let's get right into it. Even though we didn't get right into it because we were talking about McDonald's and being a kid.
Cause I'm ordering McDonald's.
Yeah.
Get extra tartar sauce.
If you order a Filet-O-Fish, then you should be put under the jail.
So good. I'm gonna do this extra
Disgusting.
tartar sauce.
Anyway, you know us. We're gonna give you our hot takes on popular culture. One thing that was popping right now is it's actually funny because when we recorded the last episode, like probably like 20 minutes after, it wasn't even 20 minutes, right? It might have been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
After we finished recording our last episode, then DDG and Holly, it's Holly, right?
Yeah.
They announced that they're having a baby.
That they had a baby.
That they had a baby.
Yeah.
Which was speculated for months. He did the fake troll. It wasn't fake, obviously, but he did the troll post of like a while ago.
He did the April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
Because he's done that before. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he knew what he was doing. Because he's done that with all his exes.
Yeah. So first and foremost, before we get into this topic, congratulations to them. Anytime somebody is able to bring life into the world, it's a beautiful thing. So shout out to them. And they are aesthetically beautiful, because that's the thing. A lot of people, and it might be most people, are some weirdos, and they feel like because they see somebody on a video or they're aware of somebody, they feel like they know them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, maybe he actually even replied. I feel like I saw something where, he did actually reply, where somebody was like, oh, I love this for her, blah, blah, blah.
And
then he was like, you don't know her. Like, and you don't know me just because you see me on YouTube.
Which I feel like he was taking his anger out on that girl's comment, because I don't think the girl meant any harm. But
Yeah, no, she definitely didn't.
Like,
but it's true.
It's true.
Even in the positive comments, like, you don't know anything about these people just because you see them on TV.
Mm-hmm.
People, there's actually a scientific term for it, and I forget what it is, unfortunately.
It's called para something.
Yeah.
Para something.
Yeah, what is
like
it?
It's
parasocial
yeah,
something?
parasocial relationship. Because I saw a TikTok where somebody said that, I don't know, maybe they were trolling, but they were saying like, it was, what's Kai and all his friends group called?
AMP.
Yeah. They were like, he was like, these, like, I feel like they're my friends, and they were all like doing cheers, and he was like on the screen, you saw that?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this is very weird. Like, yeah, it's parasocial.
Yeah.
A parasocial relationship.
People think because they see you on stream or they see you on social media that they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Even if you're giving your opinions and telling your audience about yourself, people think that they actually know you.
Yeah.
Just because of that, and that's obviously not the case. You don't know these people in real life.
And lots of times you would probably be surprised that a lot of people that we like idolize are probably like really not good people.
No, I would 100%.
Because you think about your average day-to-day person that people might generally think is a good person, that you know another side of them, and you're like, that's not a good person. Like, but they're so loved and adored, but you know, like, that there's sides of them that are not good.
Yeah, that's why they always say, don't pray to meet your idol because you'll be disappointed.
Yeah. Like, I imagine meeting Kanye and, like, I mean, I don't think Kanye's a bad person, but I feel like, imagine meeting him in a moment, if him being mad,
Yeah,
I'll be
he might treat
devastated.
you poorly,
I'll
and
be
that's like,
devastated. I'll be like, but
yeah,
that's why you should never have that, put another human on that type of pedestal.
yeah. But, but yeah, he was responding to a comment like that, saying, you know, love this for her, or whatever. And he's like, you don't know her, which I
Yeah.
agree with. But aside from that, again, congrats to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Well, actually, I don't even know because I'm not really on Twitter where people mostly post their thoughts about things. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you saw anything. But what was the general consensus about people's feelings about it?
It was very mixed because a lot of people do not like DDG. Because first of all, I will say, like, a woman in general, and like we said this with the whole Simone Biles situation, they look for something quickly
Yeah.
to break down, like, man, you know, another man, especially black men, like, because there is like this disdain that a lot of black women, you know, there's always black women versus black men. So a lot of women probably were looking for a reason not to like DDG in the first place. But the reason why a lot of people don't like him, which is a fair reason, is because Ruby Rose posted a DM. It was back around like Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
and like Valentine's Day last year, and I remember Holly and DDG were fighting because everybody, you know, all the blogs were picking up that they unfollow each other. There was like some weird stuff going on, right? And then now you in Ruby's DMs, and Ruby posted the DMs like, this is why I'm scared, or this is why I'm single.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look at, like, and the DMs was like, you know, him like, what
Yeah.
you on, or what you doing, where you at, something like that, right? And she was just like, wow, of course you're hitting me up while you guys are fighting, and then he was like, you're right, you know, like, LOL, you right, like, you know, he was definitely trying to link up, dude, and that's just like crazy to me, and I can understand why people are mad about that, because it's like, you have to have that maturity. Like, I don't care if you and that person are fighting. Maybe you guys did break up, right? Maybe they broke up. But still, like, heal. Like, why are you so quick to run to the ex when you're in a fight or we're in an argument? Like, that's mad immature. Like, that's something we would do at like 19, 20. I mean, I don't have exes, so I don't know. But I'm sure that a young, immature version of me might have had that temptation to hit up an ex when you're fighting with your current partner.
Let me speak to that.
But when you're a grown adult in this industry, it's just crazy.
To speak to that real quick, because on this podcast, I'm going to tend to be the voice, because there's certain stuff that I've been through, and I think that low key, if I give 15 seconds of advice to someone, it might save them 5 years of trauma and tumultuous pain. So like, I'm gonna try to be that voice for the male perspective. Like, don't do that. Like, if there's any young kid watching this, because as you get older, you should know why that's wrong. But clearly, he's how old?
He's not that much younger than us. He's 26, I think. So, and when he did that, he had to have been 25.
25. Okay.
His birthday, I know his birthday is like, I think it's like October or something.
Regardless, young kids, because I know a lot of these YouTubers and streamers, their audience is young kids. Don't do that. Like, take a second. Like, you can end up going and doing that if you want to later on. That's perfectly fine. But your immediate reaction, and I'm not speaking to him specifically, but just in general as a word of advice, don't try to go run and try to jump on whoever you feel like is available to make yourself feel better, because it's not going to make you feel it's not going to make you feel better. Even if you get what you want out of that interaction, it's not going to make you feel better. Like, so take a second and think and process your emotions, because you want, like, if you're in a moment of being hurt, and women too, right? Because women do the same thing. In a moment of hurt, what you want to do is you want to go confide and find whatever thing gives you that dopamine. So some people turn to the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever sort of physical or even just emotional support. From a human perspective, people also go to alcohol, drugs, whatever your source of dopamine is. Like, people immediately jump to that.
Distract you from what you're going through.
And the distractions usually aren't a good thing. So I would just say, word of advice, don't do that.
You need emotional intelligence. Like, and it's hard it's better, you know, it's better, what's the word? Like, it's better said than done.
Yeah.
And even, like, I feel like after a certain point, right, after, like, people always say 25 is when you get mature. Like, I do feel like I'm a lot more mature, and I do have a lot more discernment. It's like, you know what, like, you're gonna lose. And, like, you're just not that type of person where, like, you're like, ew, like, you have enough self-respect to not do that, you know? But it's like, I feel like even we see people after the age 25 are still immature. Like people still do it, but definitely when you're younger, it's definitely more tempting to do it. And it's just, from a woman's perspective, saying, giving advice to men, and women do it too, right? But giving advice to men, like, yeah, don't do that, because now, like, it is like there's either the ex or there's another girl now who feels like she has a one up on your girl, like, oh, like why he in my DMs, why he in my messages, and like from a woman perspective, like that's not a good feeling. Like when there's another woman out there that could say something about you now, or feel a one up, or feel like they got something over you, or even sometimes feeling like they compared to you, because you're going to them seeking that, like, attention, and now they, especially if the current girl looks better, now they thinking we match up,
right?
And it's like, there's so much implications I feel like people don't think about, because you're just human, you're in the moment, you're mad, you're upset, but there's so much more that could just ruin a relationship, and it's like you just don't want to do that. Like if you're really done with the person, fine, do whatever. But if you really know deep down you're not done with this person, you're just hurt and trying to make them mad and trying to make yourself feel better, just sit and process your emotions.
Yeah.
Sit at home, curse to yourself, maybe vent to some friends, but don't do the whole hit up my ex.
Yeah.
Or hit up a random.
Couldn't agree more, especially, and this is critical, especially if you plan on potentially getting back with the person you're trying to get revenge on.
Because now you're just creating more issues in a relationship, more hurt, more trust issues.
Right, and it's literally pointless. Like if you're completely done with the person, then fine, because then it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Right, go do whatever you're gonna do. But if you intend to stay with this person, or you potentially have the slightest feeling that you might want to work it out in the future, then don't do it. Like it's just not worth it. And it's the thing that I had to learn is that you never really get over certain things that people do to you. And I'll speak from a relationship standpoint. Mm-hmm. You never really get over those things. Like once certain stuff happens in your relationship, like it's not like that stuff just ever disappears.
Yeah.
So it might not be presently on the mind, like you're discussing it currently, but it never really goes away.
Yeah.
So if your intention is to potentially keep going with and have a future with this person, then you definitely shouldn't do that, because that stuff never goes away. Like women definitely don't forgive.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we can forgive, but we don't forget.
Definitely don't forget. And I don't think that women tend to forgive. I think if a man does something that was so hurtful to a woman, I think that women tend to hold those things. And this is not coming from just personal experience, but it's also coming from stories I've heard from other men as well, that the second a man does something, they're gonna hold those things against you for the rest of your life. Like it's gonna come up at some point, like, oh, you did this to me, and blah blah blah. And I'm not using that voice to try to mock women.
No, it's true.
But it's true. Like I've seen it. So
I think though, like there's definitely, if there's like forward, I'm talking football terms, but forward progress. If there's forward progress,
that's a first down.
If there's forward progress, though, I feel like lots of times stuff doesn't come up as much, because like, not to put out my parents' business, but my mom said, like, lots of times, well, I'm saying very broad, but my mom was saying lots of times why she still brought up stuff that happened early in my parents' relationship before marriage, or, even earlier in their marriage, is because she felt like my dad wasn't making any progress toward actually making amends for those things. So it's not like he wasn't, wasn't planning dates, wasn't being lovey-dovey. So it's like you're not doing anything to really heal what was broken. So of course now the brokenness is going to feel even worse, and I'm just going to still think about all the stuff that happened early and how you haven't changed. But I think if you show change, then you could definitely move past those things. There still might be stuff never fully goes away. Stuff is always going to be very deeply rooted in your brain, even if you're not personally thinking of it. You might randomly think of it, but I feel like it takes away a lot of stuff like that if you just are showing progress and showing that you changed and that you have actually healed and whatever.
Yeah, and just to reiterate my point to any male audience that I might have, like, as tough as you may feel, like, that stuff really doesn't go away. Like, I have to keep reiterating.
And it's just crazy too, because like you think about so much, like, when we were young, those little moments, right? Like that it's so, in the moment they feel so insignificant, and like you're just doing it because you're mad, and it's like it's crazy to think that such a small just decision or dumb message that you might have sent or whatever is just now forever a thing.
That's it. There's
it's like, damn,
nothing you can do about
that
it.
one small second of a moment, and now it's still, something that still affects a relationship years later. It's crazy. It's like, It's not worth it. Because in those moments, you don't see this far ahead. You don't see 10 years into the future. But, you know.
Yeah. But to get back to the topic at hand specifically.
That was the reason why.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. That's the reason why a lot of women were been saying stuff about Holly run.
Right.
Ew, look at this guy. And then, like, you know, a lot of women just don't like how he is. Like, he's a big troll. Like, and I mean, my whole thing is the same thing with Jonathan O's situation. If that's her man, that's what she, like, the trolling stuff never bothered me. Like, I used to literally, like, I wouldn't say I was a fan, but I used to be a supporter. Like, I used to follow him back in 2018, 2019. I kind of stopped following him in recent years because he has annoyed me, and I feel like the maturity level. And I get it. You have to make your money. But for me, I feel like you could evolve with your audience, and, you know, it doesn't have to be trolling. People will still love to see him grow and be mature and still make his money in a more mature way. So I just outgrew him as a supporter. But I do understand, because I agree. Like, I didn't like that. Like, that for me is like, ew. Like, why are you in Ruby's DMs? Like, could you and your girl fighting? Like, I don't like that. So I'm not against women not liking him, because I agree. Like, I don't know him personally, but I don't, off that one move, I don't like it. And, you know, I hope their relationship has moved past that, and I hope they can move past that. But it's like, you're too old for me at 25 to be doing that. So, yeah, it was mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews.
A lot of men are supporting him because they're like, damn, like, you hating on this black man who got money, who took his family out. Like, I get that whole, you know, angle too. So a lot of people are supporting him, like, you know, there is a baby, you know, even people who didn't really like him, like, oh, I didn't really like him, but, you know, there's always a blessing to bring a kid in. If they're happy, like, I'm happy that she's healthy, you know. So it was very mixed reviews. But there's people just like, damn, like, no, now you're stuck.
Yeah.
And then there's the crowd of, where's the ring?
Yeah. And that's the other part. So for me, I'm always on the side of, I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, I'm just saying I don't care in the sense that, like we were talking about with Simone Biles and her marriage, like, as long as nobody's doing anything to harm somebody else, I'm always rolling. So if you're happy and that's what you're looking for, then perfectly fine. Who am I to comment? Because I can't, because, you know, I hate that people are like that. Like, people will have a mentality where they believe something, and it's not good enough for them to just believe it on their own. They want to have other people have the same perspective as themselves, and I hate that. Like, it's such a stupid way of thinking. And it's led to literally millions of people dying with, like, religion, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later, actually, because I have a topic to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, buckle in for that one. But yeah, so as long as they're happy, I'm rolling.
Yeah.
And we did want to discuss the concept of marriage in this, so let's not go too crazy with it from a time perspective.
Yeah, no, like, it's just a brief like, concept that I'm just trying to understand.
Would you say, because I don't have the stats on it, right? And I think people need to differentiate between real life and entertainment. So in the entertainment world, as we could see with, you know, Cat Williams exposing a lot of stuff, or some of the podcasts that I listen to, or comedians talking about the industry, or just people in general that are in the industry that, you know, talk about some of the dark stuff that goes on. Entertainment world is something completely different than regular people world. So they live a completely different life. They have millions of dollars. They are in certain rooms. They don't deal with some of the quote unquote real world problems that other people deal with. They're essentially in a bubble. So people, first and foremost, should not compare the environment that we exist in with their environment, because it's something completely different. It's a whole different world, just like politics is a whole different world. That's why I really appreciated the show House of Cards, because it shows those kinds of things. I appreciate Succession because it shows those type of things where it's like exposing certain industries and the differences between them, right? Like, in the medical field, I would have no idea what goes on in there because I'm not in that field. No, and they wouldn't be able to know what goes on in finance, and I wouldn't be able to know what goes on in entertainment outside of what people tell me. And even if people tell me that still doesn't mean that I know. You have to live it. You have to live it
to truly understand really anything.
Right. So when it comes to the whole get married first, then you move in, then you have a kid, then you get a 401k, like that whole structure that
doesn't make sense for everybody.
It's really dictated based on society, like the broad society, like like the regular folks like ourselves. So people should look at it from that perspective. But I don't have no hold up, and I don't have the stats. But do we think that there's an increase in people having babies outside of being married?
It's hard to tell because I feel like we live in a social media world, so we see so much, so that might be our perception, but the stats might be very stagnant. They might not have even really changed much over the years. It's just that we see more, so we perceive that that might be the case, but we wouldn't really truly know unless there was some stats. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was some stats though, because I do think with the increase in social media does change people's perspectives on relationships, marriage. I feel like people are so much quicker now to end marriages and end relationships, which could be a good thing for some people, right? Because yeah, definitely in the past, a lot of people were staying in relationships they probably shouldn't have, abusive relationships, not knowing their worth. But I also do think some people are so quick to leave relationships because they feel like there's this illusion of options. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, in one case, yeah, it probably is helpful that people are leaving marriages that they should have left, but in another aspect, it's probably detrimental that people are leaving marriages that aren't that bad, but they think they're bad because they feel like they have options and they want to relate to women's gripes and issues, and they want to be able to be relatable, like my ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend, there's that group of people. So there's a double-edged sword.
I feel like that with the Tyrese situation.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like, when that type of things arises, then there's definitely less marriages, more single mothers, and definitely an increase in babies out of wedlock. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an increase in the stat, and there probably is an increase just based off population increasing naturally, but I'm sure there is some type of increase in babies being born out of wedlock. And
yeah,
I mean, my whole thing is I understand the perspective because people be like, "Nah, everybody believes in marriage," and I get that. I get it because realistically, a lot of people aren't religious, right? And marriage is a religious concept. And then some people just don't necessarily care for the benefits that come with it, which you kind of should, because there are a lot of tax benefits. Sometimes you are better off being a partner. Oh my God, my food.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, get that Mickey D's. But yeah, there's benefits of being a partner from the tax perspective. Like you mentioned, you get discounts on your taxes. There's also benefits when you're buying property. There's a lot of different benefits that go on from being in a marriage itself. But still, with even within that, right? Because now we're bringing in the concept of finances, which is a big part of marriages and actually the number one reason why people get divorced. But it should just come down to love at the end of the day. But I know that's kind of idealistic. So we kind of can't necessarily ignore the financial part. But I can't tell, we definitely would need stats on that, because there was the concept that people introduced about all these kids are so fast and they're having these pregnancies and blah, blah, blah. But actually, as of late, there's actually less teen pregnancies that exist versus the early 2000s and the 90s. It's actually decreasing in the amount of teen pregnancies that exist. So like you mentioned, yeah, there is social media, so we might just be there might be more visibility into certain things, and that's why it might seem like there's a big wave of people having babies outside of wedlock. But at the same time, that might not necessarily be true. That's why we kind of need stats on this topic. But yeah, I do think that one thing that for sure, even without having the stats in front of us, that I believe to be true, is that I think that people, especially the impressionable younger generation, and I'm 27 for anybody that doesn't know, so anybody younger than me, I think that the kids that are coming up in this generation, when they see entertainers, I feel like now more than ever, people are more interested in relating to the entertainers. So they're kind of as crazy as it sounds, they would do something have a baby out of wedlock because that's what somebody else did. So
oh yeah, I was hearing what you said.
There probably will be an increase at some point.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody wants to be a baby mom, a baby dad, so they can relate to Sexy Red. Oh, yeah, my bad. That's my baby dad. Everybody wants to be BM, BD.
Yeah.
What happened to wife, husband? People think that sometimes corny. How's that corny?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it might be. Who cares? But, you know, it's just something to think about from in terms of a cultural shifting perspective, because I remember just historically when you look at it, like the concept of a nuclear family was like a big deal to have the dog and the white picket fence and everybody in the same household. But if that's not a focus anymore, it's just kind of interesting. It's not necessarily that I have like a perspective on it. I know what I would want to do.
Yeah.
But
I'm not gonna force that onto other people, basically.
Yeah, and I wonder, and from what I've seen in my own experiences outside of entertainers, from what I've seen is I feel like, and people have said this, like they want the nuclear family, but for some reason they just don't make it happen.
It seems like people want it,
Right.
women and men. So it's like confusing. 'Cause I'm like, then where's the disconnect? Like I think people just are so quick to cut things off and just, you know.
Yeah, I think the disconnect comes from like the being influenced by others, because we were talking about this the other day about like people listening to Future and then they're drinking lean because of the Future, and I don't mean to pick on him specifically, but we have specific examples of that. And then people in a weird way, they just literally want to emulate the entertainers that they see and they think it's cool, but then they have that moment of like realization
when they get to like 30 and they're like, dang, like I have nothing to show for myself except maybe now I have a few baby mamas and just a whole bunch of women or men that I've ran through, and the family that I've always wanted is not here. Yeah. And then and then the rises of depression and loneliness and stuff starts happening. Yeah. But it's just I get it. Like I get that marriage is not for everyone, and I get especially when you're rich, right? Like there's more implications like prenups and stuff. But I don't know. For me, I always feel like showing that level of commitment to a person before a baby says a lot. Like you're choosing me. You're not marrying me after I have a kid because now you feel like you have to. Like you're choosing me, and then we're gonna build a family together. And I feel like that's important in like successful relationships, like choosing your person and not feeling obligated to marry them because you asked them, they got pregnant. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything works out for them. Like I said, baby is here, so that's always beautiful. So hopefully baby's healthy. Hopefully. Holly is healthy, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of YouTube clips and videos of the baby and their family together. So, shout out to them. Should be we should get a lot of interesting vlogs.
Yeah, even though he's already posting pictures on like a baby page, Instagram page, and blurring out the picture, so he's still trolling. But
hey, man, listen,
you gotta make your money.
Make your money, and he's definitely made a lot of it. So
yeah,
as long as it's not causing harm to nobody.
Yeah,
I ain't got nothing to say.
But yeah, basically to summarize the marriage topic, like I said, like everybody do them, but me personally, I want the ring before the baby. Like I want that commitment, like to each other, then create the baby, because then we know the love and the foundation is there. Like don't just make me a baby mom like that. No, like you think more highly of me, unless you just don't agree with marriage. Like some women might not agree with it, but I agree with it.
But if you do, then act like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And move in life like you do, because I feel like people don't move in life like they do. They move very like crazy on both sides. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, since we're still on the topic of DDG, we could talk about how Ruby just went on Logan Paul's podcast. I didn't watch it. I actually wanted to watch it too, so I could actually have more coming into this before speaking on it. Mm-hmm. But I think he filmed it in Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's headquartered there. Do you know?
From my understanding, they live there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, she was in Puerto Rico and filmed it. And maybe she probably went down there for that, just for that reason. But I didn't watch the whole thing. But I know they talked about like her OnlyFans. So obviously, that's a big topic about her. Like I feel like that's like what rooted her. What like not rooted her, but like what pushed her into more fame. It's like her, social media just blew up lately. Cause like we talked about like how we knew Ruby Rose since like 2015.
Yeah, like she's been around.
Yeah, like, I remember seeing her on Twitter, and then obviously the Bad and Bougie video. I was like, oh shit, like this Ruby, like like we've known of her. I think you might have told me about her, or I just saw her. Cause that was just that time. Ian Connor, Travis coming up, Cardi coming up. Like it was just that time. So we've been new of her, but definitely like seeing the growth, right? Like it's probably crazy for you because like we literally seen it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And like seeing how she's literally like now.
She's out of here.
Yeah, like she's definitely, I want to say a household name, but a lot of people know of her now, especially like even younger kids. So obviously the topic of OnlyFans came up because that's like something that's like really was big about her. Like she made mad money off of it, and she talked about how like DDG's the one who told her to do it and put her on to OnlyFans. So what that did was now people are mad, right? Because they're like, why does Ruby keep bringing up his name? Because she said my ex put me on, and she's like DDG. Like she didn't have to say his name. I get it.
Yeah.
But then again, she's maybe to give him his credit. Like I don't think she thought that deeply about it. But then again, like she knows the controversy with what she did with exposing the DMs, and this was after the news came out that the baby. So it was almost like you can't. I don't know if it was any intention to kind of just throw his name out there because like.
That's what we got to do. We got to do our journalism properly because it's like in what context was because I feel like they would have set up that question or line of questioning
possibly,
but I would have to watch it to confirm. Obviously,
yeah, because if anybody did their research on her, like they would know. Okay, he just had a kid. Like this is perfect to bring it up, and which they did bring it up after she said his name.
Yeah,
but they maybe gave her the alley oop to say his name first, or maybe it was gonna come right. Like maybe it was gonna bring it up.
Yeah, we gotta do our due diligence. Sorry, y'all. But
and like I said, like maybe she didn't have to say his name, but maybe she genuinely was just trying to give him his credit and didn't think much of it, was maybe being airheaded, or she knew it was gonna get clicks and like views and attention, and all attention is good attention. Plus, too, a lot of people might not even know they dated, right? Because like both her and him have since they dated been going up, right? Like he into a new relationship that's giving him more attention, and she's got a lot more attention. I remember when they were dating. Both of them didn't even have 1 million followers on Twitter yet. Like, I was low-key, like, watching their page because they were dating. I'm like, who's going to get 1 million first? Because they both were, like, at, like, 500K. Mm-hmm. Now I think they're, like, Ruby's well over 1 million. She might be at 2 million now, which is, like, crazy. But it was so hard to get 1 million followers on Twitter. Like, that was always, like, a running joke, how hard it was.
No.
So I feel like they both have gotten a lot more fame since then. And so I don't think a lot of people know that they dated. So it was almost like she was trying to claim her stake, too. Like, oh, my God, like, people love their relationship. There's so much attention now on their relationship. Like, no, you guys don't know. Like, that was my man first, basically, right? Like, it could have been one of those, right? Mm-hmm. But then that led to a conversation that brought it to Twitter where people were like, Ruby's talking about DDG told her to make an OnlyFans. And that just goes to show, like, there's two types of women, and the type of women that get wifey treatment aren't the Rubies of the world. Like, DDG would never tell Holly to make an OnlyFans because he thinks highly of her. Like he doesn't think of her that way. He would never like he knows that she's respectable. So Ruby should know her place. Like you should be insulted, blah blah. But my whole thing is, he made them both his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't matter. Like that one he just adjusted to her lifestyle and encouraged her to make an OnlyFans, and the other, she's not into that, and he adjusted to that. Like he probably liked them both equally, just as much. Like
Ruby could have been in this situation if they stayed together. So
yeah literally. So I don't get why people are now trying to drag her and make it seem like she should feel a type of way that he encouraged her to make an OnlyFans. Like she was literally already making sexually explicit type of content on Instagram for free. Like she was twerking, she was doing all that stuff for free. He was just like, he's a moneymaker. We just talked about how he trolls and does a whole bunch of stuff for money. Mm-hmm. So he just encouraged, like, he's all about, he just sees money. So he, like, yeah, maybe, like we said, we don't live in that world. Maybe an average man won't encourage a woman to do that because why? Like, you don't want the whole internet seeing your girl, right? But they live in a different world. And we have degrees, we have jobs, we have stable income. They don't have that. Their income relies on entertaining.
Yes.
And she has, like, you need money.
I'm going to save you before the internet kills you.
What?
Yes, guys, we do know that even if you're in the entertainment industry, there's other ways to make money. We know you don't just have to do OnlyFans.
But he's smart with it because he was on OnlyFans, and his OnlyFans was teaching people how to make money on YouTube. So he was just using that whole, which what OnlyFans was created for anyway. It wasn't even made to be sexual content like that. People made it into that. But he was just capitalizing off of COVID. He wasn't telling Ruby to go up there and post sex tapes. That's not what she was doing. He was like, you twerking on Instagram, you might as well get people to pay for it. Like, people were paying to see her OnlyFans, and what was on her OnlyFans was literally what's on her Instagram. No. So he was leaning into that and played people. She made millions off of that. And I think that was his girl at the time. Like, why would you not want your girl to be up millions and get to money? And during COVID, when everybody's at home. And if he wasn't encouraging her to post her news. Like, I don't think she ever even posted a nude on there. I don't know what she posts. But from what I heard, it's literally just basically the same stuff on Instagram. Like she be tricking people and making her money.
Right. And if he's already accepting of her being like that on Instagram, then like
he pursued her of her looking like that.
So he was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. So I don't know why people act like that. He doesn't like and respect both Holly and Ruby equally. Like I think they're two different type of women, but he likes both types.
It's just a goalpost kind of thing, right? Because it's like on one, and this is where women are super interesting, because it's like on one hand you have so many supporters, and this is not to pick on anybody. So for anybody that's new around here, if I give an example, it's not to pick on anybody specifically, but it's just an example of people's idiocy and hypocrisy. So I'm not picking on Meg Thee Stallion for any type of content that she posts, but you see people will support Meg, which is perfectly fine, right? Like I have no comments. I literally have no beef with her at all.
And Ari.
Right. Or like whoever, right? I could name a million different people that post similar kind of content.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just funny how on one hand, people will support people that do it when it's just the person they like, but the second that it's somebody that they don't like for whatever reason, their goalpost will move all over. The goalpost does gymnastics to try to fit somebody's narrative that they want. So Meg is perfectly fine. We love her. Great, because you see with like, and we're not gonna get into that topic, but like with the partisan breakup, right? Like beforehand, everybody loved him.
Yeah.
Then things go downhill. Now he's 40 and he's this, he's that, and he broke, and it's irrelevant. It's like, all right. So I feel like this is kind of another one of those instances, right, where like people will like somebody, then the second that
they like something better.
Something better, or any criteria changes at all, now they're going to slander the person that they were just gassing up in the comments. And I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, because people love Holly, right? Because she just embodies this like innocence that people like, sweet. But first of all, you don't know her. Like that could all be a ploy.
Bro, y'all like, don't know these people.
Because something that Ruby even brought up, like when that whole beef was happening, like after she posted the screenshots, because they were following each other on Instagram. Like I always thought that was kind of weird. I'm like, oh, like, you know, that's just that world, and like, but just dating each other's like exes and stuff. It always just seemed weird. But like, they obviously unfollowed each other after she exposed the DMs and all the beef happened. But I remember when that was happening, one of Ruby's friends was like, Holly literally was in Ruby's close friends. And Ruby would post stuff in the close friends where she was dating DDG. Like there was, those, I don't want to put stuff out there, but there was allegations. I remember there was a hacker, Ruby had a hacker, and they leaked like DMs of when Ruby and DDG were DMing each other. I guess she blocked him. So they were communicating via DMs, Twitter DMs. And there was like pictures of like, like it looked like bruises and stuff. Like she was saying like, oh, you hit me. Like it was like, there's allegations out there that there was physical stuff happening.
This is all alleged.
Allegedly.
This is not Tasha K.
Allegedly. Yeah.
This is all super
allegedly. But
alleged.
I'm just saying because this is real stuff. Like there was hackers that posted screenshots. They both denied it, but my opinion is I think there was some physical stuff. I don't think he was beating on her, but I do think couples sometimes do put their hands to each other sometimes, right? Like grabbing, like, like they shouldn't. But I'm not talking about like punches. I'm talking about like we used to do a movie.
Touch some Margello again.
No, I'm saying like in our early childhood days, we used to grab each other.
We used to beat each other up, right?
No, but we left like maybe like not you left anything on me, but I've definitely left like red marks from grabbing you or.
I was about to make a joke, but people used to be too sensitive. So I'm not gonna make it.
No, but people definitely do that. And sometimes like women do kind of be like, you hit me, when it's literally was like maybe he grabbed your arm, right, and left a little bruise. So it could have been a situation like that. But regardless, she was posting on her close friends like all the stuff that she was going through, like with him cheating on her, him like making her block people in the industry that she was trying to make music with because he was like insecure. And like there could have been a lot more stuff that we would never know that was posting out in that close friends. And Holly was watching all that. Now you dating that man. Sorry, I was just really wild.
You think that's why she didn't reply to me?
No.
You think DDG put the block on me?
Maybe. Like, why get a girl that's desirable and then be insecure? Like, I don't understand men sometimes, but Holly. I feel like Holly is like, that to me says a lot about a woman. Like, you sat there, like it was almost like the friend that would listen, or the girl that would listen to all your stuff, but then like still, like try to get with the guy, right? That like you're complaining about or like crying about an ex, like the Euphoria situation. That was like Maddie being literally abused and tortured by her ex, and then her best friend dating her ex. Like that's, like I feel like that's weird of Holly to do that. Like you're in the close friend, you're watching, you're seeing this stuff. Like first of all, like you're in a close friend, so she considered you a friend in a way, and now you're dating her ex. Like I don't know. I feel like we don't know as much about Holly as people think they do because we don't know her. But she kind of shows signs of like she just seems like a weird woman, weird male centered woman, in my opinion. Like she doesn't necessarily come across like that, but I see signs. You know, the signs are there, and I think people just love her so much that now they're ready to bash Ruby. And like you said, they love her, and those same people probably love Meg Thee Stallion. But now you're bashing Ruby for doing the same thing as Meg Thee Stallion, except Ruby's profiting off it more than Meg is probably. Meg is profiting off of it, like in a way too, because obviously it helps sell her music. But Ruby's profiting off of it on OnlyFans, and DDD gave her the idea to do it, and she just gave him the credit. And now men are trying to bash her. Like, women gotta understand that man never respected her. Like,
you said what? Men are trying.
Men are saying that too. Like, Ruby gotta understand. Like, cause they're trying to, there's the men that's trying to cape for the fact that they can't get women that they really want, so they gotta say, oh, she got wifey material, because those are just men that are mad that they couldn't get the woman that they want. So now she's a hoe, she's this, she's that.
Bro, you know what the thing is? You know what kills me about this kind of stuff? And this is where neutrality, it's not even neutrality, it's just common sense, right? And I'm always on the side of common sense. Mm-hmm. Men gotta stop with that, like, that women bashing stuff when it's so hypocritical, because it's like, you are bashing a woman for being whatever way on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. And then you jerk off to those same type of women. Yeah. Looking for the leak sites. Yeah. So it's like, why is it on one, or like you're in the comments gassing up another woman, like, or liking a story, or like,
they literally, it was like the same way we were talking about, like the woman bashing Jonathan Owens, one of Jonathan Owens. A lot of those men would cry if we DM'd them.
Right. So it's just confusing, because it's like, and this is, of course, does not apply to everybody. Of course, I'm sure there's some wholesome men out there that just are so principled and, cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I know for a fact that's not most men, right? Because I could go, like, honestly, hold up. If I go find a comment right now, and I will literally call out the @ name, hopefully I can find somebody. If I go to a comment and there's like a negative comment, I guarantee you, if you go look at the following of that person, you could see exactly what I mean by that, right? Because it's like, on one hand, you're bashing somebody's behavior for something that they're doing, but at the same time endorsing it. It's what we were just talking about, like, like earlier, like five minutes ago. Yeah, it's like the same thing. Like, men gotta stop doing that shit, because it's like, just because women do similar things too. It's just because something doesn't fit your, like, narrative or ideas, it's almost like
your experiences that you went through.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, like, that doesn't now make, it's just annoying. Like, that kind of stuff like really blows mine, because it's like,
because they're just trying to play this whole, let me put you women onto game. That man never respected her. I'm like, what? Yeah, he didn't respect her, but he got her millions. Like, she was doing what she was already doing. What she was doing attracted him to her. Like, he publicly claimed her. Like, a lot of these men who really are embarrassed won't publicly claim her. He publicly claimed her all over his YouTube. He wanted people to know that was his girl.
Right. And also, like I said, people, you don't know these people, right? So how you can't jump off the roof and say that you're speaking for another man now.
And then they, what I hate too, they try to act like Holly would never post no picture like that. Go to Holly's Instagram right now and go look at like her like second row picture when they was on their baby moon to Bora Bora. They're like Holly never shows her body. Like, look how she presents stuff on Instagram. Look how she's always usually covered up. Go to her Instagram right now and see her picture of her in a blue bikini.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, the cover picture is literally her butt. Like, she used to be in, because I followed both of them, right? So I would see her name, and she used to be in Ruby's likes all the time, liking all that content, because she probably did admire it, and who wouldn't want to admire something like, because I think Holly was trying to get her butt bigger and stuff like that. So like, you probably do admire Ruby, right? Like, and I like to dive deep. She could have really admired her to the point where like she maybe does feel like cool that she's dating her ex, because he's like, damn, like, her body's fire, she's a fire woman, and now I have him, like, cause I just know how women are, And I do. Yeah,
we're not talking about her, but yeah, we've definitely seen.
So Holly might have been one of those girls who really admired Ruby, like wishes maybe she looked like her a little bit, like, cause she was in her likes deep. So that's why it's just funny to me. Like, she was liking pictures of them when they were together, and now you're with him. Like, for me, Holly gives me weird vibes. I don't know her enough to judge it, but I just know how, like, the traits and not a pick me type woman, and that's what she gives me. Like, maybe she was inspired or admired Ruby. Maybe not wanted to be her, but like wanted to be like her, and feels cool now that she's with DG. Now she's like posting butt pictures and stuff. Like, so that's why I'm like not sure why people are trying to act like they're so different. Like, they really might not be different. Holly might just not got her like that. She might not know how to twerk, so she's not gonna post a picture like she's not gonna post a video like Ruby. So maybe it's not that she's not that type of girl. She's just not gonna do it. And yeah, she has other stuff going for her, right? She has the Disney stuff. She has the Beyonce stuff. But look, Chloe was doing it. Chloe decided not to go to Beyonce round. She was doing the twerking on Instagram, and they killed her for it.
Right.
Yeah, like her own sister doing it. And now everybody's trying to kill Ruby for it. Like, when Holly could be just like her, she just not posting it.
Break that down for me though, because I know people do kill people like Meg Thee Stallion for doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But she gets overwhelming support, right?
Yeah.
So why does she get overwhelming support when she, like, I know in this instance, I know your answer is gonna be like, oh, it's because they started out with blah, 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 and now it seems like they're trying to like convert to something else.
Yeah.
But still, at the root of it, if this is what this person does. And this is what this person does. What's the difference? It's
because I think with Chloe, people felt like it was forced. And it did kind of low-key give me forced vibes. Like, it didn't feel natural. So I think that's what it is. Like like we talked about this, I think, before on the podcast about sex appeal.
Yeah,
we definitely talked about this. And not everybody has it. Like, you could, Chloe has a nice body, but I don't think she has sex appeal. Like, nothing about her. Like, I'm not a man. But I'm like, I know, like, it's not, like, I don't know. It doesn't give me, like, damn, like, she got sex appeal. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get that. I don't know. A lot of guys agree. Did you see that video where she was being like mad weird?
Oh God.
I gotta find it. Do you remember that one video of her like being very overly sexual? Like on the mic, like she was like in her room or something.
Yeah, wasn't that the one that like went crazy? Because I feel like we talked about this when it happened.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I feel like I recall that one.
So I think that's why like somebody like a Meg is so effortless.
Because that's like her real vibe.
And that's how she's always been.
Yeah.
And it's just effortless. Like, you could tell, like, it's just like she has sex appeal, but I don't think Chloe Bailey.
Yeah.
So people just kill it because it's like it's just awkward. Like, she's just awkward. I think it was it. Like, it's just awkward.
To my 4 million followers and counting, my candy kisses and my clovers, thank you all so much for loving me, and I love you right on back. There's a lot more to come.
Now, the thing about this, though...
She could have been trolling, too.
She could have been trolling, but how do we know that's not her?
What do you mean?
Like, how do we know that's not really how she is?
It might be how she is, but you could just tell it just seems forced. Like, it's just not natural. Like, I feel like if someone really is like that, it just comes across effortlessly. Like, something about it just seems forced. You know what I mean? Like, you're sucking a lot. It just seems forced. Like I don't know. Like, some people have it, some people don't. Like, you know what I mean?
This is gonna sound so gossipy of me and so feminine. And I promise I'm not like this, y'all. I swear to God. When we were trying to find topics for this podcast, I just happened to come across it. But she was just seen leaving with Tyga after dinner.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
So she might be like that, but maybe it's just not like.
She might be like that, but like it just doesn't seem natural. That's all. Like,
yeah, I feel you.
Like, you could be a sexual woman, but it could just be effortless. You know what I mean? Like, could you know when something feels awkward and performative? Like, you know, like you feel it. You're like, oh, this feels awkward.
Yeah. Compared
to you're just being yourself.
Yeah. But anyway, like, on the topic of the OnlyFans thing, like, for people that are saying that he just straight up didn't respect her.
Yeah. And that Holly's getting wifey treatment, apparently.
You definitely can't speak in matter of facts.
Mama at 24.
I'm not going to go ahead and say that. That was Mal on the A Couple of Things podcast that said that, not me.
How old is Holly Bailey?
But for me, I definitely don't like speaking in matter of facts. So, and again, nobody knows these people. So you don't know who's respecting who. Not going to put this on her or put this out here.
She's 23, by the way.
And I'm not going to put this on anybody, but you don't know what goes on in their household, right? Just like you said, like, allegedly there might have been some DV going on.
Yeah.
Would you have just naturally just assumed that was going on with Ruby and DDG? No, you wouldn't. Like, you really don't know what goes on.
I wouldn't, but Loki would have, because they were very toxic. When they dated, they were very toxic.
Oh, like, but sure, but even still, you can't.
Fighting every day.
But you wouldn't know, right? Like, if that never leaked, then you would never know at the end of the day. Like,
that's true.
Like, people can't speak in matter of facts.
That's true.
Like, you can't just like straight up push it on people. Like, oh, he definitely doesn't respect her.
Yeah.
Even if
without facts.
without facts. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't. People be emotionally manipulative too. Like, you don't know what he's doing. And I hate to use those kind of examples because I'm not putting this on him by any stretch of the imagination. You don't know what anybody's doing.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I wouldn't just jump to assume just because he might have encouraged her to get a bag doing the same thing that she's already doing that he just automatically doesn't respect her.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
If anything, like, he doesn't respect Holly. He, like, you're in Ruby's DMs when you guys get in a fight.
That's wifey treatment, though.
Yeah, that's wifey treatment according to people. That's wifey treatment.
Hey,
impregnating a woman and not giving her a ring is wifey treatment. Wifey treatment is not being a wife.
Apparently.
According to Twitter.
Well, it is.
If anything, Ruby's single, no kids. Holly is a baby mama at 23. Who won?
2024 math.
Not hating on their relationship. Like, they very well might get married and might have a successful marriage and successful relationship. And I hope that for them.
And they look beautiful
I'm just
together.
Saying, yeah, like, and I'm not wishing that bad on her. I'm just saying, like, I'm more so talking to people trying to break down Ruby and big up Holly, and it's just weird because Holly's not in any better of a situation. Like, you're in a relationship with us that started kind of messy in the beginning with the man that literally was DMing a girl who he dated, and then you got pregnant 2 months later because you're a pick-me, in my opinion, and seek male validation. So you're a solution, but I'm gonna get pregnant by this man so I could win, and you won. Okay, I don't want this to be I'm bashing on Holly. Come on, but
well, that's what all you've been doing for the past like 20 minutes.
Because I just feel like
it's okay. We can. I'll save you. We can just wrap.
Like
it
I said,
up.
I don't know her personally, but a lot of her characteristics that I am picking up on. I'm very intuitive, and she does just give me something's quite not right with her. Like, I just feel like a lot of women do desire love and male validation because who doesn't? Like who?
Well, what else specifically has she done that makes you feel that way?
Well, just this situation, really. Because realistically, we haven't seen her in any relationship before this. Like, so a lot of people are saying this is probably her first real relationship. And I'm speaking from my own experience. You're my first real relationship, and I've done a lot of stupid, weird stuff in the beginning where you could tell I pitch you on a pedestal and was so just into you. But I never did that at the expense of another woman, though. And I just feel like she's that. Like, you're in the girl's close friends. You liking the pictures, and now you dating him. I don't know. It's just, I just think this is her first real relationship, and like, she's really feeling herself like he was with Ruby, so I must be on Ruby's level. Like, that's what it gives me, and I don't know, man. Like, he had, like, he dated Kennedy, like, he had like really good looking exes, and it's like, I just feel like she just gives me like she's all hyped that she's wanting him now. Like, she feels like she's like really like that girl, and she is. Like, I'm not taking away from that, but I just feel like I just could tell the traits,
That's the Little Mermaid, though.
Yeah. And wait, look, what is that?
I'm just joking. But
doesn't it look creepy?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't want people to come kill me on this.
Yo, it's too late now.
If this gets any
no,
views,
no, it definitely will. When this one goes up.
I'm just saying. I don't know her. I'm just saying that based on my experience with women, like, have women friends. I'm a woman myself. I have sisters. You know the traits of a woman that is just kind of shysty and kind of pick-me-ish. Like, people love to say pick me. Like, she gives me pick me vibes. That's just my opinion. But no hate, that's just not somebody that I like to be around. But I don't know her, so I just using deductive reasoning to just make a conclusion on what I think. But I don't know for sure, so. But what I do know is that they both were girlfriends of him, and he cheated on Ruby, and Ruby left the situation. And he might have cheated on Holly, and he kind of emotionally cheated and tried to hook up with Ruby, and now you have a baby by him. So, I don't know whose situation I'd rather be in more. I think Ruby's, but that's just me. That's just me.
Fair enough.
And I hope Ruby gets married and has her kids one day.
Your girl. Don't hope for that. Your girl.
I do. I hope for everybody to have that experience of true love and creating a family.
Well, in other entertainer, celebrity, YouTuber news, the Ace family are getting divorced.
Yeah.
How you feel? I never watched them. I'm not familiar with like that whole YouTube family.
I'm very familiar with them, but I didn't watch them.
But you definitely were more on the YouTube couple side of things. So
yeah, and I never really like. I will be honest with you. I never really enjoyed couple content at all. I'm just nosy, so a lot of times I would just watch it because I'm like, what do people like about these families? So let me see why people like them. Or like with De'Ara and Ken, I'm like, okay, like they travel and they do a lot of interesting stuff. So let me see what they're doing. But a lot of relationship cringy stuff, I hate it. Like I hate the cringe challenges. Like I'm just not into cringe stuff, you know. So I'm not gonna lie, I never was really into couple content like that. But I did watch it sometimes just out of curiosity to see what people were doing because like I just wanted to steal their ideas of like travel and trips. The Ace Family, it was just like, it's because we never seen nobody do that. That was like a new thing. The whole couples content on YouTube, we didn't see that before because the world of YouTube before them was makeup YouTubers, tutorials like the Bethany Motas of the world, like hauls, you know. But then that transition in like the 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, where there was vlogs and couple channels, like, that was just a big thing. And I was nosy because we were seeing them the same way Charlie D'Amelio blew up was the way the Ace Family was blowing up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of subscribers, like every month, like just going up. And so it was just almost like you were just curious. So I used to just watch sometimes to see like they have like when they had their huge house, the house tour. Like I want to see the house because I'm nosy. Like I want to see what this YouTube money is doing for people. But I never cared for the actual content, the couple content. So I don't really know how their relationship was, but I do know that there were like times where
this is all alleged.
This actually happened. Like where she was posting, like Catherine's her name, posted YouTube videos that were accidentally like not edited, and then there was clips of like him like spazzing out or like just talking to her like wild, and we're like people were like whoa, like. So it's like obviously I don't think nobody's relationship perfect because I'm a realist, but I do think there was a lot of stuff she was like probably letting slide. Like I heard he was just not a good person. Like his brother's ex-girlfriend, who's his niece's mom, because he has nieces from his brother's kid. They had a really messy breakup. Her name was Shyla, and she exposed a lot about the family, about the brothers, about how they do weird stuff and like they cheat all the time and like they're the brother was abusive. Not the one I just went through the breakup, but I was going through the divorce. But the brother that went through the breakup, he was abusive. There's a lot of them with the dad doing like cheating together. It's just like a lot of weird stuff. So I'm not really shocked. I think a lot of people's relationships aren't genuine. I think honestly, when you see people who get together quick and then have their kids and start families so quick, it's kind of destined to fail, in my opinion, because you didn't really get to know each other and like form a real bond. And it works with people, right? Some people get lucky, but I don't think a lot of people do. I think they jump into a relationship and they had their kid. Maybe it wasn't planned, right? Then they saw they made an empire. Yeah. So that's money. Money's keeping you together. And then you also feel like you have so much invested, so it's harder to leave. But I'm not surprised. I think they reached their peak with YouTube a long time ago. I think, like you see, De'Ara has success on her own. I think Catherine, and maybe not Austin, but maybe so because he has his personality, could find success on their own. I'm sure their money is kept away enough and stacked away enough that they're set for maybe life.
Mm-hmm.
I know people be posting on Snapchat now. I heard that's like the new bag.
They're the money maker.
So I know they are on there. But yeah, I'm not really shocked. I think a lot of relationships are not real. I think people would be surprised to know how a lot of these relationships are behind the scenes. They're just holding it together for the money. And Austin does give me like, I don't know. I never liked his personality, the way he acts. He's very weird to me. And yeah.
Yeah. To speak further on that, like relationships being fake thing, this is definitely not just applicable to the money, but I definitely see like within our relationship, it's kind of like, because you were saying how people get together quickly and then they immediately like jump in, have kids, like they're fully invested into this one person just so immediately. One thing that I've appreciated about our relationship is that like I don't think that there's anything that I don't know, like in terms of, and not terms of like everything you've ever done in your life. That's not what I mean. Like, because that's not necessarily knowing somebody, but just in terms of knowing you as a person, like who you are personally, like your chemical makeup, like your personality, all those different deep intricacies about yourself. Knowing those different things is such a I would say a blessing to know, because that's what the basis of any real solid relationship should be.
Yeah.
And
it takes a while to really learn that.
right, and based on our experiences, it does take a while to like really truthfully know somebody to that level where you're not going to have an instance where you feel like you like the idea of somebody basically, and then you want to be fully invested in them, but you don't really know them. Like you like the idea of them, like you know the idea of them, but you don't really know them for real. And I feel like in our case, we are definitely not anywhere like that at all. Like,
yeah, like imagine us having kids or getting married, like when we were,
dear God,
2 years into our relationship. We didn't really know each other even 2 years in.
Not that we wouldn't still be together, but what I would tell anybody,
it would have definitely caused war.
It would have been like
a lot of tension. Because now you're dealing with trying to raise a child and all of the, like, you know, I was watching my nephew today, like, or our nephew, right? You could say our. And like it was stressful, like when he was crying for those moments. So imagine dealing with that with somebody who you don't really even know like that. Like I feel like dealing with that together now, we would be fine because we know each other. We know like our strengths and weaknesses. But trying to like develop that relationship still with the person and still get to know them while you're trying to also raise a family, it's just not realistic. Or maintain a marriage, because people get married and they don't want to get divorced because it's like failure to them. It's like you should never got married anyway with somebody you don't know.
Right, and then also trying to learn yourself in that process too. Like that's the other part of relationships that people don't really take into account. You really need to learn yourself too. It's not just at
the same time.
This is how I immediately feel, so this is how whatever should go. Like realistically, you should be taking time to learn yourself, and not just flow through life and just like have the only thing that needs to be fixed is like you're the other person, if that makes sense. Like no, you need to work on yourself, learn yourself too, in addition to learning your partner and learning how both of you can come together and learn how your relationship will work. So it's definitely something that I definitely don't take for granted, why I wanted to bring it up. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like a lot of people's relationships are definitely fake for the wrong reasons. Of course, money is one thing. People getting in relationships for the aesthetics is another thing.
Yeah, everybody wants to make couple content. Everybody wants to take pictures and vacations,
date nights, and all that kind of stuff.
Date nights, get a bouquet of roses. Like everybody just likes the idea of relationships and how it looks and how it sounds, but don't actually know what it takes to have a successful relationship.
Right. Yeah, you definitely got to take that time to really learn the partner. And like learn if you're compatible. The same way you would
learn your friends. Like people, I don't know why people treat friends and relationships like they're so different. Like the same way you would deeply, and some people don't really truly probably know their friends though.
No, definitely not.
But the way you should deeply like actually know your friends and get to know all aspects of them is the same way you should treat your partner.
Right. And then in these type of situations, this is definitely something I feel like, and again, we've reiterated on this podcast a bunch of times, but just for the sake of if this is being clipped anywhere, to reiterate, like, yeah, we don't know these people. All we can do is go based off of publicly available information. So I don't know what they've been like behind the scenes. I don't know their relationship. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I have no clue.
Yeah.
But what I will just assume based on what we know is that like this would be one of those instances. Just jump into something extremely quickly, blind faith, and then also a ton of money gets thrown into it.
Because they probably couldn't. You can't anticipate fame.
Right.
So they was making videos like, "Oh, cute, we have starting a family," and like, and now you blew up, and now you. Probably same with DR and Ken. Now you kind of got to stay together.
Yeah, and money.
Who wants to say goodbye to millions?
Money is the great exposer.
Yeah.
Of how people are, and I know some people have the belief that money makes you evil or changes you. To me, I think you're who you are, and it just will highlight who you are. And so I think this was inevitable, whether they got famous or had money or not.
Yeah. And he was in a lot of like a cheating scandal.
Alleged, and this is all alleged and just based off of my own opinion, based off of publicly available information. And I will reiterate again, I don't know these people, so yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know how she was. Like we don't know who.
Yeah, we don't know anything really.
Because she has rumors of being like a part of Taz Angels, which was like I'm not really sure have a lot of details on that, but that's how she. People assume that's how she got linked with Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if you know they dated. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. That's a whole. If you deep dive into her, there's a whole thing about her being like
I don't want to deep dive.
A Taz Angels.
Shout out, you know.
Yeah, she dated Michael B. Jordan.
Not shout out to Taz Angels, but shout out to that time period because that's definitely something the younger audience wouldn't be familiar with.
I wasn't really familiar with that either, but that's
Really?
why apparently her and Chantel Jeffries were really like close friends. Cause you know her, Chantel
Yeah.
Jeffries, like she was in it. Yeah, look, this was them.
Interesting.
Yep. Ace Family girl.
Yeah,
Look,
man.
They was literally like a whole couple. Like it's crazy. Or they was, you know, they were seen with each other, but people were assuming it was a Taz Angels hookup. But
That was definitely a time. Like I remember that. Not really. It's funny because I was a lot younger when I was going on and a lot more naive. So it wasn't like my mind immediately went to what it actually is or was. I don't know if it still exists.
yeah.
But you guys can infer. I don't know what we're allowed to say or not say on here, but you guys can infer what kind of group it was. But I definitely remember on social media seeing them all the time. But
Yeah,
just
so, like-
assuming it was just like a social group, I guess. But y'all can.
They've always just seen with rappers. Like this was her. Like you see that's Catherine right there
Yeah.
with Chantel and Tyga. Like they would always just see with rappers, and then it was just alleged that there was like stuff happening
Yeah.
with them
Interesting.
being connected. Yeah, and then now that's what she tried to rebrand herself as. But that's the thing that's funny. Where I feel like sometimes people are just destined for fame. Cause how do you have that, and then now your YouTube blows up like.
Yeah. Well, because you're in that environment.
Yeah, you're in that entertainment space. So.
And in that state. That.
Yeah. So I said that, I brought that up because, like, who knows, like, how she is and some of her morals, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Like, maybe they just both had issues and that's, they both, but I think based off what we've seen, he seems the one that's more likely maybe the cause of the divorces based off the rumor stuff that came out, but it could have been either one of them. And I just feel like, I'm not shocked by it.
Yeah.
I feel like they were married for a long time, but sometimes things come to an end, and I think they're both set with money. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah. Yep, the house is listed currently, I believe,
Wow.
based on the bankruptcy.
Did I tell you that one time that someone won a Range Rover that lived in Phillipsburg?
Yeah, and then they filmed the
Isn't that
video
crazy? So anybody listening, they had a whole giveaway of somebody who won a Range Rover. Like they had millions and millions, like tens of millions of subscribers, and it so happened to be the person that won. It was in the town I went to high school in, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, small town USA. They literally was driving on Route 22, right across from the shop where I worked at, like where they were standing outside waiting, like talking about introing their video. They were standing literally at this church that was like on Route 22, like 2 minutes from my house, like where I grew up at. So random and weird, but like that's so crazy. Of all people around this whole country, Phillipsburg, and if anybody knows Phillipsburg, that's like kind of hoodish. So a Range Rover in the hood is crazy.
Phillipsburg is hoodish.
It's not hoodish, but it's like it's rural hood. It's like I wouldn't even call it hood. It's just like disheveled kind of. It's like I don't know. It's just grungy. You know Phillipsburg. Have you ever actually drove through Phillipsburg though?
Yeah.
No.
I was in them streets.
You didn't. No.
Them country bumpkin streets.
Yeah, it's still country bumpkinish, but it still is like you got the meth addicts. Like it's still like white trash, and black trash too. Like small town USA. They gave the wrong person a Range Rover. I'm just saying the wrong city, but they didn't know that any better.
Yeah, well, I think the death of the YouTube family,
Couple channels.
metaphorically, of course, metaphorically, the death of the YouTube couple channels and that whole family, like the family channel thing, it's been dead, but like this is kind of like the eulogy, I guess.
Yeah, even though we start seeing it in a way succeed on TikTok, but in different ways. Like I think the whole pranks and the cringe. Hey, we're the Ace family. Come to our house. Like that
what's
whole
so funny?
cringe era, I think is over.
What's so funny is like, imagine I can't imagine somebody doing that with like no audience.
Yeah.
It's like it only makes sense when you have an audience, if that makes sense. But at
Yeah.
the same time, to get that audience, you have to do it.
Yeah.
But that just always seemed funny to me. Hey, we're like trying to set up as if you're popping, but you're not popping yet.
Yeah.
But get it how you live. But yeah, it definitely seems like people aren't like there's a transition away from that.
Yeah, because YouTube in general is just transition.
But-
Like YouTube is still always going to be a thing, I feel like, but it's definitely TikTok and more faster paced content is what's in now. So
Yeah, at the present moment, until somebody
Yeah.
else comes around and does it, and then people
Yeah,
act
go
like
back.
people act like it's a brand new concept.
yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely is a shift on YouTube because you saw a lot more of that stuff before.
yeah,
But I think maybe people got back invested with like almost like with information they don't know, like with the tabloids. Like people got more invested in families of entertainers, and it like they're more paying attention to those kind of families with less information that they have. Like they'd rather pay attention to like a celebrity than
Yeah.
a YouTuber, if that like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'll like conceptually they'll be like, oh, okay, like Don Tolliver just announced his pregnancy with Callie.
Mm-hmm.
So like people are more invested in that, which people always were with celebrities, but
Yeah.
I feel like people are just deviating back to how that used to be with like the tabloid era. But yeah, definitely. I guess this marks the end of the era. Like I said, I was never one of the ones to watch these kinds of
Yeah.
channels, but
They're
to see the bigger people
yeah.
finished,
It's
I would
crazy.
assume it's over.
Yeah, because people like the Ace family and DR and Ken were like the two, like really the two heavy hitters. Like, and a lot of these couple channels have fell apart, but they were definitely one of the two bigger ones. Obviously, the Ace family was probably one of the biggest to do it with the family stuff. The family channel, I think they probably were the biggest to do it.
Was the content actually good?
I don't know. I never really watched it, but it was. I mean, I guess I could see how it's entertaining, especially to younger kids. I could see it, but cause they did like a lot of random stuff, like and they would do the wild stuff. They would come in the first people to do like the wild stuff. Like, cause Austin, like the dad, he was a more like outgoing, crazy one. So I don't know, like if you remember this like scandal, but like he had, you know, one of those invisible infinity pools, whatever. What do you call them? Like, where it looks like
the infinity pool.
yeah, it looks like it's go over the edge.
Yeah.
And he put a jet ski. He had a jet ski in the pool,
Yeah,
and the
and
water
the
was
water
splashing to the
splashing,
neighbor.
yeah.
So he would just do outlandish, crazy stuff like that, like big bubble house in the backyard, like, you know, just very
Yeah.
family friendly content, and it just made people like want a family. And it just was cool seeing kids. People like are weirdly obsessed with kids, like, oh, we love her, she's so cute. Like, you know, people just wanting to see. Even they got, you know, they were so big, they got to a point where Kylie literally did their gender reveal. Kylie Jenner did
Wow.
their gender reveal for the second kid, like it's on YouTube and everything. So
they were doing their thing.
They were doing their thing. They were probably literally, like I said, the biggest. Like I'm sure I gotta see what their subscriber count is, but I think they were the biggest like family channel. And then like DR and Ken were like one of the biggest black couple channels. So it's like it's crazy that there's the end of era.
They had to be the number one black channel. Black
They
couple
aren't,
channel.
yeah.
They had to be. And there's no way they weren't.
The Ace family has 18.4 million subscribers. That's a lot.
Jeez. Good
They
God.
were getting to a bag for sure.
And they probably still will.
And their most popular video was 40 million views. 33 million. Yeah, and they were the one of the first to do the whole labor and delivery type videos. Like they were big with that. Like so showing you like I'm in the hospital, showing you what it's like to give birth, the process of it, you know.
Yeah, so they were really the like what's the word?
Like the
Pioneers.
innovators, yeah, the pioneers. But then
Pioneers
they
was-
also got a lot of like, controversial takes because then it kind of became the whole concept of pimping out your kids, having
Right.
kids for content. That's where a lot of that came from. So it's definitely like an end of an era, and it's crazy to see like them end. You know, not saying I'm surprised, but it's just crazy to see like an end of like an era.
Yeah, but anyway, in music news, this just came up today. I thought it would be interesting to talk about. But Yasin Bey, for those that don't know who that is, Mos Def. For those who don't know who Mos Def
I don't
is,
know if it's his real name.
then you should not listen to music ever again, specifically hip hop or rap. But Mos Def was on a podcast. I'm not sure what the name of the podcast is. I think it's called The Art of Dialogue, maybe, is what I'm seeing here. I think. So they asked him a question about Drake, right? So this was his response. I'm just gonna play it for you guys if you didn't hear it yet. But I'm sure anybody that's listening as a clipped version, I'm sure you guys have already heard it. But I'll just play the clip now, and hopefully they don't copyright us.
They probably won't.
Is Drake hip hop?
Why are you doing this to me?
Drake is pop to me. In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
That's wild.
Commercial music.
Or as
Commercial music,
shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course, I mean,
It's
I get
commercial.
People were mad at his
entertaining,
response, by the way.
good,
It's
formulaic music.
it's likable.
Likeable music, yeah.
This specifically.
It's likable.
But is it? I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move. We're gonna move on.
So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many
I love
barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling, where's the message that I can use?
Right.
What's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom-poms? Like, is Drake...
Yeah. So
Side
that
note,
was the
too,
clip.
What's interesting is that guy I listened to, Armand Wiggins, that does like the social commentary. People got mad at him, and he said the same thing about Doja Cat. He said he doesn't consider Doja Cat a rapper. He said that he considered her a pop artist, and that she's the artistic talker.
Yeah.
And I was like, he got a point.
Right. So this is partially what
But Drake,
I wanted to talk
I
about.
consider her a rapper. Obviously,
For real?
I consider him an artist who does music. He raps, he sings, he does everything. That's what I don't put him as I don't think he's just a rapper. He's an artist. He does it all. He raps, he sings, he
Right. And
artistically talks.
and this is what I wanted to talk about.
He's not just a rapper.
Because this is my opinion. So
You can't make songs like One Dance and be like, I'm a hip hop artist.
right. And that's my thing, right? So
You make hip hop music.
and I think the categorization of somebody that's a rapper versus someone that can rap is two different things.
Yeah.
Because
That's
if
true.
if Beyonce gets on a song, she can rap. Like Chris Brown raps on songs, right?
Beyonce has rapped on songs.
Right. Chris Brown raps.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Chris Brown raps on songs, but do we consider
Yeah.
him a rapper? No. But why? Why is that? That's because he makes it predominantly other music that isn't rap, and not that Drake makes predominantly other types of music that aren't rap, but you can't make Hotline Bling to me and then also still be considered a rapper
Look
because
at Pusha T. Pusha T don't make any of those type of music.
right
He
or
just makes rap.
or Jay-Z or anybody like that we
Yeah.
consider to be real rappers. Not I don't mean to put the word real in front of
Yeah.
it, but like Kendrick or like J. Cole, they've never made a Hotline Bling, right? Same just like with Nicki, right?
Nicki tried to go the pop route.
Like Nicki made Super Bass.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's like when you transition into making that kind of music, that's what differentiates you from being a pop artist, from being categorized as a rapper. And being categorized as a pop artist is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But there definitely are more commercial implications, and your music is going to sound like the woman in the interview said. It's going to be more formulaic. Like you're going to follow a certain format and try to get certain radio.
Try to get TikTok music.
Right.
And it's funny because Nicki it was criticizing people about making TikTok hits, but she literally has leaned into trying to make TikTok hits. Like with the Everybody song. Like, come on, you know what you were doing. You know the Ice Spice impact. You know the Jersey Club trend. You're trying to hop on that.
Yeah, so
True hip hop artist is not trying to chase a trend. A true rap artist is not trying to chase a trend.
Right. So like that's the differentiation to me is like just really those examples. So in my opinion, I think that he's a pop artist, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like I think people get
But pop
so
encompasses
offended.
hip hop too. Like
Right.
you could add that into it. Like you're just an artist.
You're just a art. Yeah, you do everything. So like exactly like he was saying, he was like, "Wow, look at this store. It has everything." So it's not like it's a bad thing, but
You wouldn't just categorize a store that sells. Walmart sells everything. You wouldn't just say Walmart is a furniture store.
Right.
Because no, Walmart also has music. They also have food. They have furniture.
Right. And
but they also have food.
And they sell great things.
Yeah.
Like Drake makes phenomenal music, and he's done arguably, I'm not going to make this argument because I just don't feel like making it, but you can argue that he's done more for hip hop than a lot of people, if not everyone.
Yeah. He definitely has one of the highest impacts into the hip hop community.
Because of how music sounds in general. A lot of that has to really do with him, to be honest.
And he's a great rapper.
Right, a fantastic rapper. And he raps better than
he's not just a rapper.
Most rappers, but that's the thing. You shouldn't be categorized as just a rapper because he's not.
And why I do that anyway, why I diminish all the greats of him. Like we love him for a lot of his old Take Care songs,
Right.
We love him for that. So why take that away from him?
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
But it was just an interesting take. Like, I feel like, yeah, don't diminish it because that would take away from so many different aspects of what he's able to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So I think people get too sensitive. Like people love their artists, their favorite artists.
And if anybody says
sensitive.
anything,
yeah, and they're not taking it at face value. They're not understanding what he's trying to say. Like he's not saying that doesn't do hip hop music and that he doesn't do rap music, but he's just saying that he's not just a hip hop artist. You can't label somebody as just a hip hop artist. It's like the same thing where you can't label a mixed person as black. You're mixed, and that's okay. It's okay to be two different things. It's okay that you're half white and you're half black. You're not just black, and you're not just white. Like if you're biracial between black and white, you're mixed, and that's okay. Like people get so offended when you call somebody mixed. Like what?
Yeah.
But that's what you are. So it's like why to diminish other aspects of him when there's so much that encompasses who he is. And you should just appreciate everything, all aspects of him.
Yeah.
And just call him an artist. That's why I like the word artist. Kanye said that about himself. Kanye said, call me an artist. Like Kanye actually hates when they call him a hip hop artist or a rapper. He said, I'm an artist. So he embraces that,
I think in like a really weird, obscure example would be kind of like Post Malone too, right? Like Post Malone when he first came out, like he was rapping. But like what we
the first song that we knew. Well, you know what? Not really. The first song that we knew from him was White Iverson, and what's the other one?
There's a lot of
Die Young. Those are my two first original songs I remember from him. Was White Iverson and Die Young. Those were singing songs, and he was rapping on them too, right? A little bit.
But there were other rap songs I used to listen to too.
Yeah, what was that other one? There was three.
I used to listen to a song called On God by him.
Yeah, but we just
that song, God.
Oh yeah. Those were like the main three that we listened to, but definitely White Iverson and Die Young were like the ones. White Iverson was the biggest one, like spring 2015 semester. We were just like White Iverson.
And obviously that's singing, but like just because you rap,
you're not,
doesn't
you're not just a rapper,
right? Because if you take any other artist that does any other type of music and they just make a rap song, that doesn't now make them a rapper.
But then, what do you feel then on like hip hop awards? So if Drake wins a hip hop award for best hip hop album, but the album had more than just hip hop music, do you feel like that's not fair? Do you feel like he should be in a different category? Like, do you feel like there should be, or do you feel like since he does make hip hop music, that maybe his hip hop songs could still win awards? But I feel like sometimes they'll say a whole album's like even with like. I think for what album was, they said that it should have been R&B or it should have been hip hop in it, or like it was just in a different category.
Yeah, it was in the wrong category.
Yeah, or Nicki was getting mad too about one of her albums.
Was it a hip hop album?
Yeah, or one of her songs. She said it was a hip hop record, but they tried to say it was pop, and she thought it was purposeful that they said it was pop because they thought pop was a harder category to win in because you're competing against the Ariana Grandes and Taylor Swifts of the world. So what do you feel about that? Do you feel like this should be a separate category for a complete artist work? Like,
yeah, I think
it should just be pop, right?
You're right. It should just be categorized appropriately because we saw that this happened with Tyler, the Creator, where he makes really good music, but they try to miscategorize it sometimes as being, and he talked about this in his speech where he's like, oh, this is like the best urban album. Yeah. When there was nothing urban about the album.
It's that a black man made it.
Right. Or like if a black person makes a country album, then they're going to automatically categorize it as being hip hop just because.
Or urban country.
Right. Like now they want to, you know what I mean? So in that case, I think you categorize it appropriately, right? Like if Taylor Swift dropped a rap album, that album should be considered for rap
Yeah,
albums
if it's
because
all
if
rap.
it's a rap album. But if it's a album full of pop, then it should be a pop album. So I just think people should categorize it properly. Now, what I will say, because I know some people were uptight about the Most Def interview. So yeah, I will give y'all a little bit of a little bit of credence with that. Yeah, so he definitely had a lot of passive aggressive tone.
I bet say he was a little passive aggressive.
And I'm not gonna put the video up there because we're not gonna do that on this podcast. We're not gonna be putting the little visual clips for y'all. Unfortunately, we're just gonna do audio for y'all. But yeah, his facial expressions, yeah. So once he got past that, so he definitely was trying to be a little shady, saying that he drops way too much music. He was trying to throw little innuendos like that. So it definitely was a little bit of shade there. But aside from that, the larger part of that conversation at the end there is this whole thing about the collapse. And
well, yeah, what was he trying to get at that? I didn't understand what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for him, but I've thought about this before, and I don't know if many people know this, but I think it's kind of obvious, and I think people can put two and two together. But Drake's music is largely responsible for the reason why we still have a lot of music labels and why we have a lot of streaming services. He, along with a couple other people like The Weeknd, you throw Kendrick in there too. But realistically, it's really like The Weeknd and Drake. The reason why we still have things like, and this is me being like kind of dramatic, but at the same time, not really. Like, they're the reason why we still have streaming services up and running, because you look at the billions of streams that they bring in and how much ad revenue that generates to allow these companies to continue. And then also with the labels specifically, Drake brings in so much money to, God, what is he under? Universal? He brings in so much. Is he under Universal? Yeah, he is. He brings in so much money to Universal, to UMG, that they're then able to pay other artists at UMG just off the fact that Drake releases music through them.
Yeah.
So he generates just so much money that it's like a buffet for every other artist. So if he is producing so much music, eventually culture and society is going to get burned out from that. So he's so exposed right now, where he got, how many albums he dropped in the past 2 years? Like,
You said how many years?
he dropped
2 years?
Honestly Never Mind,
3, yeah.
CLB, Her Loss,
Yeah, Her Loss. I feel like there was something else.
For All the Dogs, and For All the Dogs, Scary Hours.
Yeah.
And did he drop something else?
What was the most recent one?
For All the Dogs, Scary Hours.
Oh. I feel like there was something else. I feel there was one more.
Well, I feel like there was another one. There probably wasn't, because
You said
that's a lot.
CLB.
That's like 5 in the past 2 years.
You said
Yeah.
CLB.
Yeah. In order, it was like CLB, Honestly Never Mind.
That's when the run started. Was CLB.
Then Her Loss.
That was around Donda era. So that was 2020.
Donda era.
Yeah, Donda. 2021, and it's just turned 2024. So technically, it's only been 2 years. 2023.
I think I'm right with my math there. He's dropping a lot of music, and it's really good music, luckily, so people aren't going to get tired of it. But at some point, there's only so much he'll be able to do. There's only so much he'll be able to do. Like, he can't continue to do this.
And he dropped the album like pretty much every year.
Yeah, there's a lot of music.
When you really think about it, like,
it's a lot of music, and there's a lot of high quality music too.
Yeah.
He can't keep doing it forever. So if the public gets tired of him, even if the music is still good, because that's how the public works, that's how music consumers are, unfortunately. Even if the music is still good, the public, if they're just like, nah, we don't even want to hear that no more.
Yeah.
Then music as a whole might fall apart.
Yeah.
Potentially, because a lot of what people end up doing is they follow what the biggest person is doing. So kind of like the way I feel like sneakers got trash after Virgil passed.
And it's funny, 'cause he predicted that.
Yeah, he
Remember
said
people were
right before he passed, he said streetwear is dead. And you see everybody's out here lost, wearing denim tears.
It's crazy because I was like, nah.
And look what we got. We got denim tears.
Right.
We got gallery department.
I think the biggest thing is you just see
the
people who really loved it and who were there from day one not wearing it no more. That's the thing. Like, I still wear my sneakers, right? I still wear my stuff here and there, but that obsession of it, matured already at that point. Like COVID made everybody sneakerheads, and now people, it's like you're seeing the laggers now wearing all the fits that we was wearing 5 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
streetwear really is dead. Like I said, denim tears. It's a mess out here right now.
Yeah.
And he was right. Virgil predicted it.
I think he might have been, and again, I don't want to speak for him because I don't want to assume what he was saying, but I feel like
He was hinting to his.
because he was saying the collapse of this whole thing. Now, if he was talking about the collapse of the Drake Walmart comparison, like he was saying,
Yeah.
the collapse of Drake, I don't think is necessarily on the horizon, especially given the For All the Dogs response.
Yeah.
But if he's talking about the whole like music in general, then I would agree with that part. I don't know about the Drake falling off kind of thing, but the whole music falling off just because Drake has to put out at such a high volume because music is in such this weird space.
Yeah, I think it could be, maybe it could be a little bit of both.
And if he was to stop, especially because he did that interview with Yachty a few months ago,
Yeah.
where he was talking about like playing with the idea of retiring and just, handing it off to the next generation. If he does that handoff, where does that leave us?
I know. That'll be a huge impacts.
Because the second Virgil stopped making shoes, you see what happened.
Yeah. And now,
You don't even see
unfortunately, he
anybody
died.
talking about anything, right?
Yeah.
When Kanye stopped, you don't
When
even.
Kanye stopped, people are lost.
People really don't.
People have no idea what to wear, what streetwear, like, because there's no direction anymore.
Right. So people just run to designer now because that's like the safe space is like, okay, let me go pay $800 for some Balenciaga boots, and that'll be the thing.
Yeah.
But that's why you don't see sneakers being as much of a big deal.
Yeah, anymore.
So if he was
Like-
getting.
People remember we used to be on my Adidas Confirmed app, Nike drops. People still do that, but it's like they're doing that now because they feel cool because they wasn't doing it before. Nobody's really on that no more. Like, I promise you, nobody cares anymore. Like, streetwear really is not how it was. Like, we were talking about Karma Loop and all those days, and we saw the beginning of it, and I feel like we saw the end of the run, I would say.
Yeah.
It
So.
started in like 2010 and it ended in like 2020. It was a decade run, and that was it.
Yeah. So if he was hinting at that, then I would tend to agree. But
Yeah.
definitely the men that get their panties in a bunch on X on Twitter,
Yeah, the Drake guzzlers.
pop it out.
There's a lot of Drake guzzlers. I remember there's one person, we were mutuals on Twitter. And like I used to just clown Drake all the time, and he was like a huge Drake guzzler. And I have not seen his tweets, and like I just thought about it. I'm like, I haven't seen his tweets in like a year. Like, I don't even know his at name. I'm sure he probably blocked me or unfollowed me or whatever, like blocked, unblocked. I'm like, what happened to that guzzler? Because me, I'm a Kanye fan. I always was Kanye Drake, but people really be like on their knees for him. So
Yeah, and
I'm
for
sure
me,
they're upset.
I don't use the word fan, but I'm definitely an avid supporter of his music because he
Yeah.
makes a lot of high quality
He
music,
makes
and
good music.
music would be in a very lost space without him. So anybody don't want any misconceptions
Yeah.
about my feelings about his
Yeah,
music.
we're just calling it what it is. Like he is an artist. That's
He's
it.
an artist, yeah, that raps better than most rappers,
Yeah, he's an artist that raps. He's
He
an artist that
does it all.
sings. He's an artist that. Yeah.
and that's okay. Like don't limit yourself.
Why are we gonna take away half his discography because we just want him to claim hip
Bro,
hop only?
bro made Marvin's Room. Like,
Like,
what are we
what?
talking
Yeah,
about?
like-
Like, yeah, I don't know, man. People are weird. But anyway, you got anything else? I got some chicken nuggets on the way.
Oh, you could have got them when I
On the
ordered
front.
mine. I tried to give you my chicken nuggets.
Yeah, but I want my own.
I tried to give you mine.
I got chicken nuggets and a Frosty.
I didn't even finish my food because I was just stuffed.
Well, finish
Oh,
it.
yeah, Wendy's.
Finish it right now. Yeah, I got Wendy's.
Bill, Wendy's is mid.
Yeah, but I had it the other day for the first time in like years, and I was like, these chicken nuggets are kind of good. It's alright. But anyway, this has been another episode of the A Couple of Things podcast. Hopefully, y'all didn't cancel us yet. Yeah, this was episode 64, and
64. Dang.
yeah, if you got to this point, then we definitely appreciate you. But if I was you, I wouldn't be listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We appreciate y'all, and as always, we will see y'all next week.